Have to move forward. Welcome to my coding channel, Coding Learner. So this is C++ tutorial lecture number 10. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe. So this video contains the what is the 2D array, and we do some practical questions on 2D array, how we implement the 2D array, and we do some operations on 2D array so that you can easily uh, you can friendly with the 2D's array type questions. Next we have to do a character array in which we have characters in our array. So let's start. So first we have to introduce our 2D array, how we implement the 2D array in the program. So let's start. First we have to declare our int type array which contain n number of rows and m number of columns. So this is the declaration of an array. So the number of rows and the number of columns we take from the user. So let's declare here it. We takes the value of n and m from the user. First we take the number of rows and we have m will be the number of columns. Now what we are doing here, we have to call two loops, one for the row and the second will be for the column. It is similar like we do in the star type patterns, in which we have a for loop for rows and in the for loop we have a for loop for columns. So first we use for loop for number of rows which goes from 0 to n is smaller than I is smaller than n and is incremented every time. First we have to complete our first row addition of elements, and then we move to the second. So for the column we have int j is equals to 0 and it goes from j smaller than m, which is the number of column, and j is incremented every time. Now we take the value from the user, so we use cin and we have a array name called array, and here I is the number of the row and j is the number of the column. So that's it, we take it from the user, and for the output we have similarly we have two loop for the row and for the column. So first we have to run from the row for the row, and as it is smaller than n and is incremented every time, and we have for loop for j, which is the number of column which goes from 0 to m, and j will be incremented every time. So we have here is our statement array number of the row and there is number of the column. We have a space, and after the row is printed, we have a out statement and here which breaks the line in between every rows. So now we have to run it. Okay, we don't have any error here. So let's take, we have a 3 rows and 3 column, and now we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So let's see what we get. So here we got 2D array or a matrix which contains 3 columns and 3 rows, and we give them input and we got a matrix type output. So in the array implementation in C++, we have one more method to implement array, and we give output input to the array in the program also. So this is the pattern of C++ which takes the elements in the array which contains curly bracket in each row, and we have the curly bracket at the starting at the end of the our array data. So that's it about the implementation. So we have to introduce one more function. Let's take, we have to search the element in the array, and we have to code it. Let's take the key from the user, or the element to be searched from the user. So we have to write here, please enter the element to be searched in array or a matrix. So that's it. Now we have a int type key which stores the element to be searched in the array. Let's take the key from the user, and then we have to search the key in the array. So we have to introduce our loop which goes from 0 and I is smaller than number of rows. Here number of rows will be 3, so let's take it direct 3, and I is implemented in each step. And we have for int j which goes from 0 to 3. Here we have a 3 columns in each row, and j will be incremented in each step. Now we have a if statement. If key is equals to, if array I jth element is equals to key, we have to print the value of I and we have to print the value of j, and we have a flag variable which store if we found the value in the matrix, it returns true. So we have bool type function, bool type data type, and we have flag which is initially 0, and if we found the key, the flag will be set to 1. After that, if flag is true or the value flag is 1, we have out statement, the element is found. If it is not true, else cout statement, we have element is not found. So that's it. We have to run the program. Let's see what we get. So we have no error here. So let's take 3 as a key, and we get the value of I will be 0. It's talking about the first row whose value is 0, and the column will be 2. Here the column will goes from 0 to 0, 1 and 2. So our next question is to convert our matrix into a transpose of the matrix. So this is our input matrix, and we gain these matrix in the output. So first we have to learn how we convert our matrix into the transpose of the matrix. So in the theoretical, we have to do is that the 0th row will be converted in the 0th column of the output matrix, and the first row element in the original matrix are converted into the first column element in the transpose of the matrix, and so on. That's how we gain our transpose matrix. So now, how we implement our code to gain these type of matrix? What we are doing here, let's admire the question first. We have two element is present at the zeroth row and first column, and now we have to look to the transpose of the matrix. Now let's see where the 2 belongs to what position. So here 2 is present in the first row and zeroth column of the transpose matrix. So what is happening here, the value of I and j or a row or column is interchange. When we talk about the fourth element, here 2 and 4th are replace each other. When we talk about the fourth element, first in the original matrix, the fourth element present at the first row and the zeroth column, and in the output matrix we get 4 in the zeroth row and first column. So here is also the interchange of the rows and column occurs between the original and output matrix. So let's code it. First we have to do is we identify how it is the transpose. So first we have to write the transpose of matrix, and we have a line break. Now we have to code. So what is happening here, first we have to run the loop which goes from 0 to the I is smaller than the number of rows. Number of rows here is 3, and every step we have to increment our I, and now we have to code for the column of the matrix. Now we have to place j which is equals to I. When we are doing in the first row, the j will be goes to the value of I, and the j is be smaller than 3, and every time it is incremented. Now what we are doing here, we have to save the value of the temp into the temp variable, so that we are place it to the next. First we have to save the value of 2 into the temp, and we are place the value of 4 to the place of the 2 element value, and then we have to take the element from the temp for 1 or 0th index. Now we have to take int temp variable which store the value of I and j, and when we are takes the value of I and j, so we have to put here the value of the element which is 4. Now we have I and j index, we have the value of j ith index. So what is happening here, the row will convert it into the column, and column will be converted in the row. So now we have to place our second 2 element into the place of fourth element. So we have to place here temp. So what is happening here, first we take the temp value as 2, and then we and then we have take the zeroth of first position, we take 4 element, and at the last the first row or zeroth column will contain 2. These loop will be goes until and unless we got a exact matrix, and each time it will be processing for each element. This 1, 5th, 5 and 9 element will be placed at the same position because they have the same number of rows and column, 0 and 0, and 5 will also contain 1 and 1. 9 contains 2 and 2. So that's how we get our output. Let's print. We are place the code, copy the code to of display, and we have to paste it here so that we got a exact transpose matrix. Let's run it. Okay, this is how we get our exact transpose of our matrix, input matrix. If you thank you. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe. Now we have to learn how we introduce our char type array. So first we have to write our data type of the array, which is char, and we have to define our size of an array in the square bracket, and we have to, if you want to put the value of the or the string to the array, first we have to start the writing the input from the double inverted comma. So let's take here good morning. And if you want to print it, it's just a out statement array, and we have end here. So let's see what we get here. Okay, we have a out statement as good morning, which is our array data. Now if I just want to print good, what we are doing here, we have introduce our while loop first. To introduce our while loop, first we have to initialize our variable, which is I here, which is equals to 0, and we have while loop which goes from which run until and unless the array ith element is not equals to the gap. If we found any gap, we have to break the loop. Now we have a statement which is out statement, which gives the value of the ith element of the array. Here it is talking about the first alphabet of the word. I is the value of if the value of I is 0, it's print G. If the value of I is 1, it's print O, and the value of I is 2, it's print 0 O, and so on. Let's take it, and we have update statement I plus plus. Now let's take, we have a look at what we get. Oh, okay, I just forget, we have just single inverted comma here. We are not introducing any string here, we have just a single inverted comma, and this is what we get, just good morning. If you want to print a second character of our first word, we have also out statement direct, which contains the value of I will be 2. First we have to break the line, so when we identify the end differentiation between the two output. So this is how we take a one variable from the array.